Okay.
I just let people go past.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so with the incident on Ryanair, do you want to just explain what happened first? So we
Okay.
just get, because I need to know from you as well, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah?
So when I went to Ryanair, I was coming back from Milan, and I went. So usually when I go on aeroplanes, I've tried in the past to contact them beforehand to tell them, oh, I've got food allergies, but they always tell me that before I fly, right before I go on the plane, that's when I have to tell the cabin crew. So in kind of policy as well, I think that's what it is. So you have to tell them when you board the plane. So I told the cabin crew I've got allergies to nuts, sesame seeds and kiwis, and they said, yes, okay, we'll make an announcement. And she told a boy as well to make an announcement in Italian. So they made an announcement while people were boarding the plane. And then they also made an announcement about 15 minutes after. They made an announcement, we've got a person with food allergies, please don't eat these products on the plane, and also please don't, we're not going to sell these products. So we're not going to sell any products containing nuts, sesame seeds, kiwis. And then about an hour into the flight, the kind of trolley started coming down with products and food, and it passed me. And then after it passed me, I realised that the girl sitting next to me had a Kinder Bueno in her hand. So I asked her, oh, did you buy this, or did you get this from before the flight, or did you buy it now? And she said, no, I bought it now. And I noticed when we were kind of on the plane, she had her headphones on, so during the kind of announcements and stuff she might not have heard, especially because it was quite a muffled announcement as well, so it wasn't very clear. So I asked her, oh, sorry, I've got allergies, I don't know, I thought they weren't going to sell kind of products, and she kindly said, oh, that's fine, I won't eat it and everything. And then I went to the cabin crew and I went to the woman, I said, you're selling Kinder Bueno, I'm pretty sure they've got hazelnuts in them. And she didn't know, so she was completely unaware. So she said, oh, I'm sorry, let me go double check. So she went to the other cabin crew members, and they kind of all gathered around and started talking. And then she came back up to me and said, sorry, are you the girl with food allergies? I said, yes, I am. She said, oh, Kinder Bueno, it doesn't have any nuts in. It just has small amount. It just says may contain, it won't affect you. There's nothing wrong. And I just kind of looked at her like, okay.
And how severe is your allergy?
So it just depends, because I've got so many allergies. There's so many different nuts that I'm not aware of how severe each specific nut is, because I haven't had reactions to all of them. But I know that from, for example, smelling sesame seeds, or I can get skin reactions and itchy eyes and things like that. And then if it's very, very strong, breathing difficulties, but it just depends. So of course, because you're so unaware of things, you end up panicking as well.
Yeah. So when you asked the flight attendant,
yeah.
Can you remove the nuts? Did
Yeah.
they remove them?
Well, I told them at the beginning I've got allergies, and they made an announcement they wouldn't sell the nuts, and then they sold them. And then I told her after, she said, no, that there's nothing inside the product, don't worry. I said, are you sure? I'm pretty sure they've got hazelnuts in them. And she just kind of she was like, no, I don't know, no, they don't. And she just kind of walked off.
Yeah.
And then I asked the girl sitting next to me, can I read your Kinder Bueno? And then in bold, it was hazelnuts. And I know that in kind of products, it's depending on kind of where it is on the labelling. So for example, if it's closer to the front, it means there's more percentage of the product in, so there's more hazelnuts, for example. Hazelnuts was kind of in the middle when I was reading it, so I thought, okay, so there is quite a big percentage of hazelnuts in this product, and she's telling me that there isn't.
So she thought she knew best than you.
Yeah, basically, and I feel like she wasn't aware. First of all, she wasn't aware of the products that she was selling, because if they say they're not going to sell it and then they sell it, they clearly don't understand the products that they're selling. And then secondly, she was unaware of how severe certain reactions can be. So for me, it may not have caused an anaphylactic shock, but for example, for someone else, perhaps a child or something, it may have caused an anaphylactic shock if, for example, that girl started eating, the Kinder Bueno and the child didn't know that Kinder Bueno had nuts in, for example. So for me, it was just the fact that they were unaware of the products that they were selling, and they said one thing and then they didn't comply with what they said. So.
And also being on a flight as well, it's such a confined.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you feel that would make you
So
feel?
even worse, because, for example, if I was on a train or something, I could walk very, to the other side of the train. I can get off the train. On a flight, you can't do that. It's a very kind of small plane as well, because it was Ryanair, so it wasn't a big plane. It was quite a small plane, and you're quite high up in the air, and we're not really aware of kind of how altitude affects allergies either. So. Yeah, that's
so
just another.
Have you been in touch with Ryanair since then?
Yeah, so I straight away when I got off the plane, I messaged them on Facebook to complain, and they sent me a complaint link. And I followed the complaint link. I told them this is what happened, and then they sent me kind of a email, very general, not really regarding what I had complained about, just saying, oh, you're meant to inform cabin crew before you get on the plane, and if you have nut allergies, this and this, peanut allergies that you were talking about, which, and then I also complained on Twitter with the same thing, and they sent me the same complaint form to fill out, which I did as well, so.
So with even having to then go forward with so this has happened, they're not really handling.
Yeah, I don't think they don't understand the situation, because it's clear that the cabin crew don't understand what's the products are that they're selling.
Yeah.
So they must, I don't know.
So regarding like the industries and looking
Yeah.
into like how allergies are dealt with in businesses, industries, companies like Ryanair. So for you, do you feel like we are in the UK dealing with them enough?
I mean, I guess not, because of this incident. I guess so. Ryanair's Irish airline, and I know there's a lot of like things happening on the news now, so the UK is quite aware of the situation of allergies, and it's been all over the news. So considering it's an Irish airline, I feel like they should be quite aware of the situation as well.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think that they're making.
And have you had any other experiences apart from the Ryanair?
So I went to New York last Easter, and I travelled with United Airlines, and I went, before boarding the plane, I went to the kind of people that check your passports before you board. I said, I've got an allergy to nuts, sesame seeds and kiwis, and the guy told me, he was English, and he said, oh, I'm really sorry, but the policy on United Airlines is they're not allowed to make an announcement, because it's discrimination against other passengers if we tell them not to eat something. So of course I started panicking. I was like, oh my god, I was like, what do I do? I just thought, okay, I just need to calm down, it'll be fine. I told him, can I at least tell people if someone is eating nuts next to me, can I tell them, sorry? He said, yes, you can tell them, but we're not allowed to tell them not to eat something.
So what if that person refused? What would happen to you?
I don't know. I could have, if it was very strong, it might have caused a bit of breathing difficulties, probably caused like a face rash or something, or itchy eyes, So, yeah.
And did you feel like quite sceptical then to get on that flight?
Yeah, I was a bit hesitant, but the cabin crew were very friendly, so they did come and check on me. They were like, are you okay? They were English cabin crew. So I'm guessing they're quite aware of the situation that was happening, and they, he was like, oh, I know this is really silly, I can't believe they're doing this, but we have no control over this. On the flight back from America, it was American cabin crew, and they were not as friendly in terms of when I told them that I had an allergy. So when I was boarding the plane, I told, it was a man, I told him, oh, I've got allergies to nuts, just wanted to let you know. And he laughed at me. And the passenger behind me started laughing, and they were looking at each other, and he was laughing with him, going, ha ha ha, well, we don't serve nuts on this plane, or something like, we don't serve nuts. and things, and I was just like, okay, I just wanted to let you know. And then I walked on, sat down, and then they started coming to give food and everything, and she gave me a croissant, and I asked her, sorry, do you know the ingredients? No, actually, she gave me, it was like a food tray or something she gave me, and I said, oh, do you have the ingredients? She kind of ignored me, and then I read, oh no, the ingredients were on it, so I read it and it was fine. The second time she came round, she was handing out croissants, and I said, oh, sorry, do you have the ingredients to these? And she looked at me and she was like, no, we don't have the ingredients to this. And I said, oh, okay, it's just because I have allergies, I just wanted to double check. She was like, well, if you don't want it, don't eat it, and placed it on my table. And I just kind of looked at her, I was like, okay. And then I didn't eat it because I don't know the ingredients inside it, and then she came back and then she took it away when she was like collecting things, and then she like smiled or something, but she was very rude at first. I found it very...
I was like United Airlines?
Yeah, United Airlines.
So that's obviously, again, it's like, they say it's discrimination for their customers, but it's also discriminating towards you, because you're then having to sacrifice something for them.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Do you know what I mean?
So, I don't know. I mean, they clearly think, I don't know, they didn't really understand what allergies were. They didn't understand that this could really affect me if I were to eat this. For example, if it was somebody else who perhaps weren't aware, for example, a child, and they were just placed with this on the table, then they would have thought, oh, maybe I can eat it then, and eaten it, and if it had something in it, they could have had an allergic reaction, and, yeah.
And when was this flight?
This was last Easter, so
quite recent, really.
Yeah, it was in April, I think. Yeah, around April time.
Okay, and just finalise it off, because that's great. So, just in terms of, like, so obviously you're studying it as well, so you know about allergies. In terms of them increasing, do you find they are? You feel like they're more common now?
Yeah, they are increasing. I think. Is it I can't remember. There was a statistic. It's like 1 to 2% of adults have food allergy, and it's 5 to something % of children. I can't remember the exact statistic.
Because I am looking into allergies within family home and within children especially, and like you say with the flight, that could have been
exactly. It could have if it was a child who doesn't. Their parents might have been busy with something. They could have thought, oh, well, she's just handed this to me.
Yeah. So for the future, I don't know about you, but I feel like these companies need to really be stricter because of children more commonly having allergies.
Exactly, allergies are increasing. So I don't know.
Thank you.
That's all right.